Cheers.
Cheers. Was that a cinematographic opening of cider?
Pluto patron Marcia Rimai asked, why don't scientists hire a marketing firm to help them come up with better and more memorable names for things? The names of the constellations are so magical, and then some star gets a ridiculous name like SDSSPJ153259-96-0039441. And then there are the utterly uninspiring acronyms, like the Very Large Array. Really? So, that was a long question, and I thought we might do something a little different. To help me discuss this true travesty, I've brought in a real astrophysicist and some alcohol. This is the inaugural episode of our new series, StarLIT, where we rant about our science pet peeves while drinking. To StarLIT, we should give you a name. So your science name is going to be Nova, because you study supernovae.
Okay.
So, Marcia, first of all, totally agreed on the star names. They're just bad. We need better names.
In defense of some of the naming systems, usually it's meant to keep track of stuff. And what I mean by that is, for example, the one that you mentioned, SDSSJ, a bunch of stuff, that is actually telling you something about the source, and in particular, it's part of a survey. SDSS stands for Sloan Digital Sky Survey, which was...
some guy named Sloan looking up at the sky.
Named for Sloan.
Asking stars various questions and fitting them into demographic groups.
Pretty much, yeah.
You gotta survey the stars.
Exactly. But the thing is, the number of stars and other sources cataloged is massive. And so to try to give them all fun names, like, I don't know,
Betelgeuse,
Todd,
Craig, Steve.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and this is a more useful means of looking up these stars, or not all of them are stars, other sources. So SDSS stands for the survey, and then all of those numbers there are coordinates. So you basically know where in the sky this thing is.
So
is it boring? Yeah, but it's useful. And there are other ones too. Like for example, I'm more familiar with the way that we catalog supernovae. So a supernova gets SN for supernova, followed by a year.
And that's the year it was discovered.
SN 1987A means it went off in 1987, and the A means it was the first one of that year.
Yeah.
One example is supernova 1006, which was recorded by Chinese astronomers in the year 1006. And so that's how we know when it went off.
So that's why we get boring star names. Now, should we go in, find the cooler stars, and in addition to their catalog name, give them fun names? I don't know, like find a star cluster, name them all after trees. So you get like stars that are like aspen, ponderosa, maple, cedar, birch, oak. And then like you have the little catalog just for funsies.
There are actually some efforts to do that sort of thing. Not with the entire sky. There's just too much stuff out there. At some point, you have to give stuff a number. However, for example, one of the graduate students that I work with, this is Nora Shipp.
Oh, Nora.
Yeah, Nora's research, and she can describe it far better than I can, surrounds stellar streams, which are basically these kind of streams of material that are the remnants of ripped-apart stars. These stellar streams are actually being named after different rivers around the world.
Ooh.
Which works.
Stellar I like streams. That. Streams, rivers.
Yep. And there's a whole effort surrounding getting people who normally wouldn't be represented in science to name these things, indigenous populations, so on. So it's a very cool thing. I don't remember most of the details. I'm sorry, Nora. It's a really cool thing. She can tell you more about it.
Just drink.
Yeah.
Just
but
drink.
Stellar streams named after rivers.
to answer Marcy's question, we're trying. There are a lot of stars, and, like, publicity firms are stupid expensive. We barely have funding for actual science.
Oh yeah, the VLT, no excuse though.
Oh yeah, no excuse for the VLT. Although, there are some astronomers who do come up with cool acronyms.
Yeah, it's definitely a bimodal distribution.
Yeah.
On the one hand, you have the really, really boring names. VLT stands for Very Large Telescope. It is, in fact, a telescope that is very large.
There's the VLA, which is the Very Large Array. It is, in fact, an array of telescopes.
The VLT will be succeeded by the ELT, which stands for...
the Extremely Large Telescope.
There you go.
Yeah, we're doing great.
But you know what got rejected because it was just a little too ambitious?
What was it? The immensely...
OLT.
The Obscenely Large Array? The Obnoxiously Large Telescope?
Not quite.
Okay, I give up.
Overwhelmingly.
Oh my god. The Overwhelmingly Large Telescope, too ambitious, gets rejected.
Yep. We just have the ELT.
But if we funded science, we would get the Overwhelmingly Large Telescope. Please write your congresspeople, write your senators, tell them to give scientists more money. Fund the NASA.
Not sure that would have gotten funded. It wasn't as much lack of funding. Okay, yeah, fund NASA, fund the NSF.
Are you really gonna say, like, counter
but, like,
my
really fund the
science?
NSF. NASA is great, and I'm all for giving it more money, but it really doesn't need the money the way that the NSF does.
Give the National Science Foundation, or NSF, more money so they can build the Overwhelmingly Large Telescope. Or, like, something more worthwhile. I'm not really sure. I'm not a professional scientist anymore.
So no excuses on the
boring ones.
The boring ones.
But then there's the other mode.
The other mode is what I would call the very tortured acronyms.
Yeah, the overwrought acronyms.
And these ones, they're fun names. They're cute. But oh man.
They're a lot.
Yep. Especially because they're really pushing it in a lot of cases.
They definitely cheat. So you've got holy cow, and isn't the O like a 0 and specifically a subscript 0? Because isn't it like H naught?
Yes.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, H naught is H subscript 0. And that is the notation commonly used for the Hubble constant, which basically characterizes how fast the universe is expanding. Well, Google landed me on their GitHub.
Amazing.
H naught lenses, because it's a lensing survey.
Lenses, okay.
In Cosmograil's Wellspring.
Wait, the I stands for in?
Yep.
The CO is cosmic. So it could have been the holy cows, because it's Wellspring.
Here's the worst part, though.
What?
Cosmograil is, in and of itself, a tortured acronym. Which brings me to my biggest pet peeve of all, the embedded acronym.
Oh, no! Okay, so holy cow is an acronym, but the CO stands for another acronym.
Cosmograil. And Cosmograil itself, I looked it up, stands for Cosmological Monitoring of Gravitational Lenses. I hope I emphasized the...
Thanks,
Yeah.
I hate it. That's the worst. The reason we can't hire a publicity firm is money. And as a result, you do have some good faith attempts to actually give things good names. For example, the project Nora's working on, getting stellar streams named after rivers on Earth and incorporating river names from people and cultures not normally given a position of power in science. But then you have that bimodal distribution of the boring or tortured acronym. Now you may wonder, come on, it's never a binary. It's always a spectrum. No, in this case, it's a binary. You either get boring or you get tortured. Those are the two genders. There's nothing in between.
The best part is there is a website where all of this is compiled.
Yeah, I will link it in the chat below. We actually looked through it.
I have to find some of the worst acronyms on here.
Ooh, get your cider. We need to drink for every time there's an embedded acronym.
Okay, so this one, I actually went to a talk by someone from this collaboration. And I gotta say, this one's tortured, but I have to give them credit for making such a long word work. Abracadabra.
Cheers to abracadabra.
And the acronym is not nearly as bad as
Holy
some
cow.
of them. Yeah, it's not quite as stretched, I would say.
Okay.
So it stands for a broadband,
Okay.
resonant approach
R-A, okay.
to cosmic axion detection.
They didn't use the small word. I always give them
Mhm.
extra points if they don't use the small
Yep.
word.
With an, that's small.
Mm-hmm.
Amplifying. This is the part where they do stretch it a little bit, but B field ring. So the B is B field,
Mm-hmm.
which is short for magnetic field, but B is the letter that's commonly used to represent the magnetic field.
I'll give them that.
Apparatus.
I'll give them that because they didn't do B field BF. I'll give them that because they didn't
Yep.
do B field.
Apparatus.
Okay.
In summary, it's a broadband resonant approach to cosmic axion detection with an amplifying B field ring apparatus. Abracadabra.
You know what? I'm gonna toast to that. I think that's well done. It's tortured, but in a good way. Like it's one of those so bad it's good. It doesn't hurt me.
Cheers.
What was the group name that Phil wanted to come up with?
For those of you who have ever plotted with Python, a friend of mine managed to come up with an acronym that was import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. For those of you who don't know what that means, that's okay.
Congratulations! You've lived your life better than all of them. Yeah. If you don't know that Python command, congratulations. 11 hugs. That one's quite sweet.
It's a lot better than poopy. I'm pretty sure poopy's in there.
Oh, it's actually poopsy.
Mmm.
Poopsy. Phase 1 observing proposal system. Oh, that's a cheat. The SY is from system. That's close. Not really, I'm gonna drink.
Why would you want that as your acronym?
Because they didn't want poops. They had an acronym for poops.
Also,
it was a good
if I'm
acronym
gonna
for
speak with
poops.
my mouth full of food, you should too.
You didn't start eating until you were done speaking.
Yeah, and then I responded to you with my mouth full of food, so eat.
Not one, but 2 SAS acronyms. That's excellent. We got Sarah, Sage, Saga.
There's Sauron.
Sauron, like in Lord of the Rings. Spectroscopic Aerial Unit for Research on Optical Nebulae. You know what?
Not bad.
You know what? Toast to Sauron. Sauron, good on you, Sauron.
Cheers.
Because to me, that's what a publicity firm would have come up with. Sauron, you're the non-binary of this bimodal distribution.
Also, naming a survey that sees a lot of things after a character who's famously known
The
for an
all-seeing eye.
works.
That's brilliant. I like that. And it's exactly as nerdy as I'd expect. So I hope that answered your question. That's it for StarLIT, Astra, and Nova out.
Astra, to the stars, to the stars.